It's your motherfucking boys. Yeah. Welcome, welcome back to Dropping the Needle, episode 15. It's your boys, Pat Arse. I'm Knitch. This is gonna be for November 2022. Yeah. And me and Adam were talking. So this is kind of all right. Before I get into that, this episode sponsored by the homies over at Meddlesome Brewing Company, Cordova, Tennessee. I'm gonna need Adam to pick left or right, or left, right, or center. So some World Cup thing for you, Adam. We're just talking about.
I'll do center.
Okay. Hoping you pick right, but anyways, so we got three beers to show off for Meddlesome. This one is called Tips or Tip Your Bartender. It's a wheat beer with coriander.
No, nice. Dude, what's up with everybody's? It seems like everybody's using coriander and something.
Right. Yeah. So this is brewed and canned by the metalheads at Meddlesome Brewing Company, Cordova, Tennessee. And everyone does use some coriander lately. So store cold, drink fresh. It's a 4.5 ABV wheat beer. Probably just gonna fuck this thing up. Also, special shout out to Hook Point Brewing because Adam's about to drink one of their beers for this show.
Give me a shot.
Ooh. The cat shot. Yeah, that Kolsch style ale.
I'm excited. I actually like Kolsch. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Kolsch just
right off the bat, out of the can. I'm liking the sniff, the smell. Bro, I should be a goddamn sommelier for beers. You know you can do that. That's a thing.
Like a wine sommelier.
Yeah, but for beer, you can do it. It's like a thing. You can get certified.
No, anyway. Nice.
Look at that. It's a nice golden color. Love that.
Cool.
Oh, shit. There we go. Oh, goddamn. That's refreshing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Meddlesome. Tip your bartender. Actually, yeah, fucking tip your bartenders, guys.
Always.
That's what's up. Also, I really like this. They put, I don't know if you can, it's pretty subtle, but you can tell in their
their barcode is like a
was the Memphis bridge in the back.
Yeah.
The barcode. It's pretty cool.
The thing is, a couple of breweries, like, doesn't Memphis made or somebody do that too?
Yeah, a couple of people have done it. Yeah. I think Tennessee, a couple of Tennessee breweries have the skyline on it.
Yeah, nice.
But anyway, shout out to Meddlesome. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show, supporting the show. But we're about to get into it, get some nostalgic. And we picked you guys specifically because of this episode. And I'll explain that to Adam in a second. He doesn't know why. Yeah. So
they might not be happy with me.
I don't run shit by anybody. We just go off the seat of our pants. Yeah. So, anyways, we were getting nostalgic a little bit ago, like a few weeks ago, when we were trying to figure out after I'd gotten back from New York, and that's why we didn't have an October episode. Kinda, it's because I got sick when we got back from New York, so we didn't record anything. Anyway, we got back, and I was getting a little nostalgic for some shit, and I was like, "Yo, Adam, like, what would be an album we'd pick if we were going back to the early 2000s when we were going to shows a lot every weekend, pretty much, and like, what would be the album of that time, you think?" And I think we went back and forth about it for a little bit, like trying to figure out which one.
Yeah, I went a different route. I went like a route that was like stuff that I listened to at the time that kind of paved the way for what I listen to now, what I'm into now. And then you went to like I guess like the stuff that you're into, but this isn't definitely an album that I'm like, oh man, I need to go back and listen to that one.
No.
but I'm a huge fan of it at the time.
Yeah. Well, that was the idea. Was what was a thing that was pretty much on rotation in this particular few years of, I think, both our lives. And that album is Thursday's War All the Time. So I'll show the album in the fucking the YouTube art if you want to go check out that. So go check out all the stuff on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and probably not Twitter for much longer, but and we'll see how that goes.
Dude,
But
just let it die, man.
yeah, just let it fucking die. But
Who cares?
yeah. So yeah, go and check us out on there on Instagram. Go subscribe on YouTube so you can see us in person, but also see like the stuff that we put up before and after the show the on the actual video, right? So I don't know why my shit just went to full screen, so I don't want to like recording in full screen. I don't know why. I had to just click out of it. My bad, guys. Anyway, war all the time.
I don't think
Thursday.
anybody understood what you just said.
This is the reason we picked this. All right. I went full screen. My fucking I don't like recording in full screen.
Yeah.
So
I understood.
yeah. I said something to Meg earlier and she was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" It's like, what? I thought I said full words, but apparently I did.
Oh, dude, that was a lot of words just quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your boy. Man, shout out to Nettleson. This tip your bartender is really good.
And
like
this
I'm
culture
really
is really good too. Yeah.
also throw this
Very,
bitch in the freezer for a few minutes before we started. Quite on point right now. So with that being said, the reason I wanted to pick this one was out of all the bands that we were listening to at the time, there was a big show scene. There was a big scene in Memphis at the time when we were going to all these shows and people were touring like littler bands, but like I don't know. I got what would you call it? Like post punk or whatever the fuck.
yeah, but it
This
was
is
like it
I
was
don't
all
know.
over the place though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was post punk, but also like I guess you could say like screamo, but like the beginning of it, like
Mm-hmm.
that's what's
Yeah.
crazy that this is still around. I mean, this has been around for 20 years now, and like
Yeah.
our generation was like kind of the OGs of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, shout out to your festivals like when we were young type of shit. People
Yeah,
are
it's like
really into
literally
listening to stuff now again,
yeah,
which is interesting to me, honestly. I'm like, I saw all those bands for like $3, like or whatever went back.
yeah,
But they're classified as if you're looking at Wikipedia for Thursday, they're classified as an American post-hardcore band, which okay, whatever. That makes sense to me. The band is Jeff Rickley, Tom Keeley, Steve Padula, Tim Payne, and Tucker Rule. And once the album that we're talking about popped into effect, they also added what's his name? Fuck. Andrew Everding on keyboards for this album when they're touring. So talking about this album, the reason we wanted to pick it is because it's kind of the reason I picked Meddlesome to do this, okay, is very kind of fucking meta, honestly. So Meddlesome's brewery is literally in the same parking lot as well, it's the next parking lot over, but you can see the building of where the skate park in Memphis was at the time.
no, nice
Skate park in Memphis, yeah, it's pretty cool. So you could see where it was, like, and
so
the amount
it's not
of
there
time.
anymore.
No. I mean, it's the building's there, but it's not.
No,
Skate park hasn't been there since
no,
2007, 6.
damn.
I don't know. Yeah, it ended
Well,
really
it had to
soon.
been. It's not. It's got to be later than that. 2006,
Maybe 2008
no,
latest.
yeah,
I can look it up real
But
quick.
what is it now? Yeah, what is it now though?
Oh, I think the cheerleading company that was next door bought them out.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, shit, I don't even know. There's probably, yeah, it looks like, yeah, in May 2008, skate park in Memphis closed.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bummer. Anyways, so the skate park in Memphis, the reason we bring this up, and because Meddlesome is the sponsor of the show. Skate park in Memphis used to be, and I know the dudes at Meddlesome went to these shows, so that's why I wanted to bring it up too. So they're kind of our age. So at that time, to bring in revenue besides just people skating, because it was not a very convenient place for skateboarders to just go to. You had to drive to it. It was pretty far from, anything, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we're we're at the skate park pretty much every weekend, because not only could you skate there, and it was like what $5-7 or something depending on the show, but they would have they would section off part of the park and have like hardcore bands or what they post hardcore bands, fucking punk shit, or like I don't know, even like some soft emo shit at the
Pop punk,
time.
yeah, like pop punk or whatever.
Lots of pop punk, lots of fucking pop punk. Yeah, every person that was in a fucking pop
Emo,
punk
yeah.
band in high school played at that shit, like for real. So I thought it was like pretty cool. I was like, man, I should pull out that meddlesome stuff because it would work well with this because we saw so much of this era of our lives was in there, Like you could
Yeah.
probably even tell me the layout of the ramps and like you didn't even skate. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to me
Yeah,
that
I
people
remember
even
seeing I didn't go to a whole lot of shows there actually, but like
but you
the
knew
couple of
about
shows
them.
that yeah, well the couple of shows I did go to were like Say Anything was one of them with
Yeah.
oh man, there was like some opening band that I was like a big fan of too.
I think there was Me Without You is there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Me Without You.
That's what's probably I remember that show. Like people were really about it. Um
I
so
was
yeah,
about
at
it,
the
dude.
time you were about
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, at the time, this particular genre, along with like pop punk and emo, just straight up emo shit, was
But
just
what I was gonna say is, it's
banging.
funny that you brought up. It's funny you brought up the skate park because I definitely remember going more to Singleton Community Center to see shows.
Right, right.
I mean,
But
that was
that
the wildest thing.
yeah. So that's what I kind of want to get into. That's the connection I wanted to make with Meddlesome and the skate park because that's kind of this era for us.
Yeah,
But I also really want to, besides talking about this album a little bit, and spoiler alert, we're not going to talk about the actual album too much. We're going to talk about what was going on at this particular time and these venues that we'd go to. But to get that um in the forefront so you guys can kind of feel it out. This is Thursday's third album. Make sure that's correct. Yes, their third album, their first album on Island Records. And a lot of
which is like
people,
so random too,
yeah,
by the way, because this part of Def Jam.
yeah. And if you read through it, like they're back all they had to get bought out from Victory at the time, and it basically they had to tore their asses off to pay off $1.2 million
Damn.
from that contract, from that first contract with Victory, and it kind of burned them out. So it's probably the reason they eventually quit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Also, there's
Especially
this.
at that time too, like
Yeah,
making
that's a lot of
1.2
money.
million. Like,
Yeah,
it's like now where you have like all these, like you have Instagram, social media, but like, Spotify, Apple Music.
yeah. And
Back
back in
then you
this
actually had to
day,
buy physical copies. Like,
exactly, people had to buy your album at this time. So, anyways, here's their third album, um, first one on that, and yeah, on September 9th, 2002. No, yeah, yeah, 2002. They left to Island Records. They had to pay off this giant ass debt back to Victory, and they had to have the Victory logo on the next two albums, which is kind of crazy.
yeah,
And what else? What else? Yeah. So Rick Lee wanted this album to be real aggressive and progressive, and pushing like boundary ideas and whatnot. And when they eventually released it, people thought it was about 9/11. Turns out it wasn't. It was about apparently what they say. It's about love being a battle. So, but I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, like this shit could have been about and a lot of different things at the time, like war in
Yeah.
Iraq, fucking like all sorts of stuff. So it's kind of controversial, I think. But I was looking at this list of bands that they toured with when paying off that 1.2, and I'm like, how did we
Mm.
miss these? Like, so it was like it says they toured extensively for War All the Time, featuring acts such as AFI, Thrice, and Coheed and Cambria. I'm like, I don't remember any of these like coming through, but
It said with the touring with those acts.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I
yeah,
mean,
it sounds
especially
cool.
like starting out.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Apparently they did some acoustic versions of this on local radio stations, and it also got brought up in our minds because recently, 2022, they released a live version of this album for its anniversary. So, um, I don't know. I mean, my personal takes from this album are, I'm pretty sure you introduced me to this band. I don't know who else would have. And
Yeah, probably did. I mean, that's the thing is like, I mean, like I said, like I will listen to it now, but back then I was definitely into it. And I remember, dude, do you remember? This is a funny story. You remember those fucking shoes that make Best shoes? They were like a sneaker line, kind of like a sneaker line,
yes, yeah, Tom
but
DeLonge's
they were
thing.
yeah, yeah. And it was like one of the features they would like, sponsored or whatever band or whatever it was Thursday.
Yeah.
But dude, I definitely had some in high school.
Yeah. Did you have the ones with the bird on it? I'm pretty sure there's probably
No,
one with a bird on it.
yeah, I just had like some regular ones, I guess.
I remember you
Dude,
getting
yeah,
some
they were,
Macbeths.
dude, they were
Yeah.
terrible.
I
Trash shoes.
remember you were like, yeah, we're gonna fucking do this.
Dude, yeah, crazy.
Well, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Man, there was a whole bunch of weird things back then. Like, that's when a bunch of those type of companies started, like Famous Stars and Straps,
Yeah.
Macbeth, what was the other one? Oh, fuck, what was that? There's another like big one that's kind of still around. I'll think of it. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk about this one. Mainly because I don't know. It's a good record. I think the two singles that they put off of it, Signals Over the Air and War All the Time, are great. Also,
Yeah.
if they come on, you're like, fuck yes. Like if you put the shit on shuffle and you're like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this shit up. So, and they're also my two favorite songs off the album, which I'm like, why aren't more of them like this? A lot of them are not like that. But uh do you have any specific take on this album at all?
I mean, I think it's cool because it's like around that time too, you had these bands that could I guess kind of consider indie, but like they were, you know, like alternative for sure, but like not, they're not Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're not,
Yeah.
you know, Soundgarden and all this stuff that was like,
Ugh.
at the end of the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like I was just gonna say too, is this album got a lot of coverage on MTV. And like
Hmm.
and plus their music videos too kind of build them as like a live act versus like, this album. Like some was good, but like it was way better live. And that's what's
Yeah.
interesting. 20 years later now you have that live album.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you remember the venue we saw them at live?
I want to say it was the New Daisy.
New Daisy was on
Had
Beale,
to have
right?
been. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Right
it
off
was
the
the
end
New
of
Daisy
Bill.
then. Yeah, the top part was like seats and shit, and then
Yeah.
the bottom, yeah. Yeah, it was a New Daisy for sure. Um I remember that day. It's so weird. You know how you have like specific days in your brain that you can recall kind of like step by step?
Yeah.
That this is one of those days for me. So I don't even know when they would have uh been there. It had to have been in this particular era from 2003 to 2005. Had to have been.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah. Um because this is definitely what they played for sure. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. Which is kind of cool because they took a hiatus in 2004. So we must have seen them right before that.
Yeah. I mean, it had to have been like 2000, yeah, 2002 or 2003.
Yeah, I'll bet 2003. I'd bet that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Actually, with the power of fucking Google, what do you think? What's bet on it real quick? What month?
Now I'm gonna say 2005 because like I feel like we were working too.
Yeah, we were
Okay,
working for sure. But
but
2005,
2003 I
really?
wouldn't have been working. Yeah, 2003, 2002 I wouldn't have been working. I've been
Mm,
too young.
too young. Okay.
Well, maybe.
Uh
I guess Matt could have been like 15, but yeah.
oh, there's a concert history for the new Daisy. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if you can. Oh, this is kind of cool. I wonder if I can search. Fuck yes, you can.
It doesn't have that information.
Huh?
Like doesn't have that information. We
Yeah,
didn't go
it
back that
does.
far.
It does. Thursday, one concert.
Damn.
Oh no. That's definitely not that. Hmm. Yeah, I'd have to look. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck this website is, so what are you gonna do? But oh shit. Hold on. I think I just cracked the code on it. You think you think it's 2000.
It's gotta be like 2000. Yeah, I guess if you say they were on highest 2004, then it's gotta be like 2005. But I was
Okay.
gonna say 2004 to 2005 for sure.
2004, 2005. Oh, it's 2004 for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't remember seeing the opening or ending act. I don't know if you do either.
Who is it?
AFI and Coheed and Cambria.
No way.
Yeah,
The opening? The opening was what?
it says AFI Thursday, Coheed and Cambria. New Daisy Theater, February 25th, 2004. That makes sense to me because it was cold as fuck that night.
Yeah. Damn.
That's crazy. I wonder if there's a bill for it. Holy shit.
Weird.
Yeah, dude. It says like there's a somebody put a set list up and everything.
Jeez.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. I don't remember seeing AFI there.
Man, maybe I do remember seeing Coheed though.
Do what?
Maybe I do. Like you said, Coheed and Cambria was with them too.
Yeah.
So maybe I do. Maybe I do remember seeing that. I do. I do kind of remember that now.
Yeah. I don't know
Like I
if I
think
remember
Coheed was
this.
like an opener
They maybe were. Was Thursday? Maybe Thursday's the fucking
because Thursday
headliner.
had a no. Thursday had to been in the middle because AFI was. I mean, in
AFI was
2004, like
huge this time. Yeah.
yeah, and they already had
Huh.
like a few years of albums.
Wow. This is crazy.
Yeah, had to been middle. Yeah,
All right. Cool. Well, that's what we're gonna go with for now. Whatever.
crazy though.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Shout out to concertarchives.org if this is real.
that's crazy
Anyways,
that
that's what
Coheed would be an opener because I mean now they're like
right. Yeah, they're like an OG,
they're
like whatever band,
yeah.
but it's weird. Yeah. Yeah, that's that for that. Left or right, Adam?
I'm do left.
God damn it! One is right. Okay. All right, I'll
All
get left
right.
in a second. Yeah, who would know? You would. No one would know. Whatever. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because this album it was always on kind of rotate with other stuff, like we said with AFI. Not so much AFI, but like Coheed at the time was huge. In our circle, there was some
Taking
fun. I
Back
think
Sunday
Taking
was
Back
like,
Sunday was big. There was a lot of local bands people were listening to that were just like whatever people that went to school with us and shit pressed something.
yeah,
There was a couple of those, but then there was this huge kind of like I would say a hardcore scene in Memphis at the time that kind of bubbled from this for the next 2 years, I'd say. And it was like these bands, these like pop punk, almost in a screamo type of thing, bubbled up, and it was like this era from like 2003 to 2000, almost probably seven. That was just like band after band coming to town, like playing these little clubs and bars and like shit that we should never have been allowed into. But
Yeah.
um I kind of just wanted to talk about like that era. And I think this era of the New Daisy was kind of interesting too. There's just the New Daisy is such a small place. Like if you think about like a small club, it probably holds a couple hundred, maybe.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's
Definitely.
really small.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to
Yeah.
like think back, like, oh yeah, we saw actual shows on Beale Street. Cause like now I don't even think that's possible.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's still open, but yeah, it's not like, yeah, it's not like you would see a band that you really want to see that was relevant at the time. Like, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
Yeah. And when I was reading through and like looking up some stuff, it said that Thursday came out of their hiatus to play the charity event for CBGBs, and that was kind of cool. Like it's kind of the New Daisy, not that it was CBGBs, but it was so small that like what you just said, it's kind of crazy seeing some of these bands at the time. That I mean, it's probably not that crazy to say, but like you could buy these shirts in the mall, the shirts of these bands are like, whatever
yeah,
stores, some store, probably like Hot Topic or
yeah, for sure.
yeah, stuff like that. But like they were that big, like
Yeah.
they were nationally known
Oh, for
at
sure. I mean, I
least.
remember like I'm pretty sure at one point, like you go in that, FYE
Oh
at the
yeah.
mall and there's like a Thursday poster,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
like in the storefront. Like,
It's just was this logo a fucking sparrow? Is that what it is? Yeah. Oh, it's a dove. It's a dove.
yeah.
My bad. Um yeah, I don't know. There's just like this album particularly kind of I don't know, even I went and listened to it, like last week or whatever when we were talking about doing this. And it just kind of it brings you back to a certain time. So like I guess the point of doing this episode is not only like, oh, check out their new live album of this like full run through, but if you're going to these festivals like when we were young, like make sure you look at this one, like listen to this one, like if you're really getting into that early 2000s pop punk, like hardcore or whatever,
Yeah. Because definitely
check,
My Chemical Romance was,
right?
during this
Yeah.
time too. And I know like all the young kids are like still into that.
Yeah. So like go ahead and like definitely check this one out if you're getting into that stuff, or even with Blink 182 coming back again.
God.
This is that era when they were big. So I think it's worth, doing your homework and checking out stuff, also like other stuff that was huge at the time. And this is definitely one of those ones that was maybe not huge, but was definitely in everybody's fucking what CD book or whatever the fuck you had in your
Oh
car.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yep, yep.
all right, you fucking zip it open. Oh, what do you got? Flip through that shit. You said left.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, shout out to all the homies over at Metalson Brewing Company. Um, never settle, always metal. This is that watermelon,
Ooh, nice.
watermelon wheat beer, 4.5. It's got some. I feel like this shit. I don't know. I haven't. So the fun thing about this is I haven't had any of these beers. The
No, nice.
Metalson ones. Yeah, 4.5 watermelon wheat beer. Let's see what happens.
I like watermelon.
Do you in beers?
I mean, if it's done right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like there's like a watermelon hibiscus one I had,
Mm.
but like the biscuit beer I really like, which
Yeah.
it's always I don't know watermelon. I feel
Yeah.
like it would like almost have to be a sour or something to be
Right.
enjoyable.
Watermelon's a hard flavor because it's such a subtle flavor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing artificial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, all right, very golden. You expect from a wheat beer, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Do you smell watermelon when you smell it too?
Not and the watermelon's not too heavy in the smell department. You can smell it, but it's not. The taste is way, way more than you think it's going to be. That's why I was surprised. I was like, oh,
Nice.
yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to Meddlesome.
I mean, I guess
Watermelon.
now thinking about it, like it probably would be like strawberry, like other strawberry lagers. The Vita makes a pretty
Yeah.
good strawberry lager.
Yeah. So if I don't get to drink it, I'm just going to show it right now. This is also from Meddlesome. And this is called the Mango Funk Yourself. And it
Oh,
is
nice.
a mango passion fruit sour, 5.8. If I don't drink it on here, go ahead and check to see what I think about it on Untapped when I drink about it later today. So, yeah, and shout out to Meddlesome for hooking it up for this episode and supporting the show. We appreciate you.
Yeah. That artwork is pretty cool in that can too.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to talk about a couple of the other venues, specifically in this era, but notably, I just don't really know, like I don't know them off the top of my head, which is great. So, and these are all Memphis venues that we're going to talk about. So, of course, we said New Daisy. You've got Newbies, probably.
Yeah.
What's that one that was across the street from the zoo?
Oh, the high tone.
High Tone.
You mean Audubon? I mean, it was really across the street from Overton.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
Close
the
to the
street
zoo,
that
yeah.
leads to the
Yeah.
zoo. You know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So yeah, the High Tone. These are big ones. There was one on. I was talking to Crow recently about this. There was one on Madison
Yeah,
that
the
I can never.
caravan.
The Caravan. I can never
Yeah.
remember that one. But
Yeah.
that one, when I said we shouldn't
There's
have been
two.
allowed in one, that's the one. We should have
Well, you
never
know,
been
like
allowed.
the rumors about that place, right?
What?
Like there's like several times where it eventually got shut down or something because like first of all, it was like a dive bar, you
Yeah.
know, that was like barely open, and it was kind of weird because it was like they saw like a revenue outlet for like, oh, you know, these kids need a place to like watch their stupid bands, so, you know.
Yeah.
So they had like a tiny stage, and so they housed, you know, they let all these bands perform there. But anyways, they ended up getting shut down because they had a stage, and it was like supposedly there was shit under the stage, so it was kind of like risen a little bit, and supposedly they were hiding cocaine under it and doing
Really?
like a whole like distribution center out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
there's all
pretty
kinds of
cool.
rumors though. That was one of them. Yeah.
Love that rumor. Okay. Shout out to Caravan. That's pretty cool.
Because it was like, you know, it was like a dive bar. That was so weird. It's like, you know, I'm like 17, like, can I have a Sprite?
Right? Yeah. It was super strange. I remember it was like they had multiple entrances, but they were really weird about everybody coming in the front. And I was like, this is strange, bro. Like, but and now everyone parked behind the building.
Yeah.
This is really
Remember
weird.
seeing a couple of bands. Yeah. The only one there a couple of times, but I saw Hello Goodbye. Remember that band?
Yeah.
They Drive Through Records.
I think I saw
then-
Terror there.
Yeah. That was one. I didn't go to that one, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We might have seen Terror. We might have seen
There's
there's a bunch of hardcore bands we saw there, like actual hardcore bands.
Yeah.
Like they
But look, they also had
dude.
like random bands too. Like remember that band, The Format?
yeah, they
Like
were there.
like pop punk band kind of, or like
Yeah.
dream pop. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, there was a lot of that kind of stuff. But it was like the coolest thing about this was like it was legit. You showed up, you paid like a few dollars, and then you get a stand and you could go in and out. Like I know people that also when they did like wristbands at places, I know people that had like stacks of wristbands in their car. They just switch them on and off.
Yeah.
Which is pretty smart. But
Yeah. But that's what's
Uh,
so funny. Yeah, just all these venues making money off of kids, but also like, like good on them too for like giving like, kids the place to watch these bands play instead of like doing crazy shit on the street, drugs or drinking or whatever, finding other
mhm.
outlets, things to do.
Yeah.
Even though
At the
that
time,
show's still going on at those shows,
yeah, it was going on there. It was just like
but
like a controlled environment.
yeah,
Um, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy when I think back to this this time. Like you were saying, like all of these bands that we've seen, it kind of ruins me now for looking at like festival lineups or like big show lineups, and I'm like, I've seen them already. Like they're in their
yeah. Well,
prime, you know.
yeah,
And,
I get what
and
you're saying. Like you think it's just like it's too jam packed. Like there's no individuality of like tours or bands anymore. What you're saying? Like everything has to
yeah,
be just
there's that.
compact to like
There's
a
yeah, there's definitely that, or people are playing trying to play bigger venues than they should.
yeah.
Um,
That's yeah.
like it's kind of sad, but the there's a venue here in Nashville that's closing for good soon. I'm about to bring it up real quick so I can remember it. But
What is it? Oh,
I forget. I'm blanking
I
right
think I know what
now.
you're talking about. Is it the Exit
Yeah. Oh,
In?
the Exit In. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Exit In
I like
is
that. Yeah, I like that place.
so the Exit In is closing for good soon, which really sucks because they've been around for 50 years or whatever. I think 50
Yeah,
years, like a long time. And yeah, they're closing for good because I don't know. Oh yeah, the building is selling to somebody or something. It's some
hmm.
bullshit, like seriously some bullshit. But
Yeah,
it's just a bummer because like I think about it like this. There's like all these clubs and whenever we went to at that particular time that I don't think any of them are there anymore. Besides these bigger ones that we're talking about, the new Daisy, um, Newbies is fully
yeah,
only there because it's right next to University of Memphis campus. Like it's the only reason it's still alive.
yeah.
Um, and I'm pretty sure it's changed hands like quite a bit, probably. But
Well, and newbies did a good job too because it's right near University of Memphis, so it's like they get all the college kids and they know how to cater to the college kids. So like,
yeah,
when we were going to University of Memphis, newbies would always do like these electronic acts because I mean electronic that's what the route I was going to go was the electronic route. Like
yeah,
that scene was coming up in like early 2000s as well. But
yeah,
yeah, so you had all these like local DJ acts and stuff. I mean, you still do. I mean, that became kind of like the hippie like stoner place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I still remember you telling me you went to maybe it might have been up here in Nashville, but I remember you telling me you went to like some warehouse party and you saw Dead Mouse at the time. And I was
It
like,
wasn't a warehouse party, but it was like it was at some hotel though. But yeah,
uh,
I think it was a hotel or some venue. But yeah,
was it here or was it in Memphis?
it was in Nashville. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's one show I regret not going to
yeah, but it was
because
pretty
you can't
fun.
get
It
into
was a good
that
group of
shit
us. Yeah,
anymore. Yeah.
yeah. This was what I'm saying,
Uh,
especially like at the peak too. Like it's like we saw him and like it was around this time of year too. It was like in November before Thanksgiving, and then like flash forward to like the MTV Awards, and he's like the DJ.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's just like, I don't know. Uh, it's just crazy to think like you could, this episode is not really even about what's about Thursday, this band and this album, but I think it's more about just like that stuff disappearing, man. Like
so yeah.
I
Well,
couldn't tell you.
yeah. You're able there was a true market for like indie, you know what I mean? And now it's
Mhm.
like you have to do the bigger thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You constantly have to like up your game and like, that's what they're saying too. Like a lot of bands are not going on tour because it's like the inflation, everything, the cost of touring, it's like not worth it.
yeah,
It costs some bands are like not breaking even by just touring.
yeah, which is crazy, and it really bums me out because like I thought like moving here, I'd see when I have seen a lot more music than I did when I was in LA, but I thought there might be some kind of smaller music scene where I could see acts like this, you know, but I don't think there
Yeah.
is. And if there is, I just haven't, no one's turned me on to it. So I don't know. But it's kind of a bummer that, you know, it was 20 fucking years ago. And like we've seen this small decline over time of these venues and these bands just kind of disappearing. And then the only time you hear of them again is at a giant festival with just all of those fucking bands from that time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer, but
Yeah.
so I'd love. I mean, I'd fucking go to one of these shows and just rage for a few hours, whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm old as fuck. I'd be tired as fuck the next day, but I'd still have a good time. You know,
Yeah.
it's just hard. It's hard to. It's a bummer to think about, but at the same time, shout out to this whole time era. Like that, those few years were so fucking sick. All of these venues were that should not have let kids inside. Like I'm pretty sure it was against the law to let us inside, but they were like full on bars. Like what you're talking about with the Caravan, that place was a bar. Like
Yeah.
the
Dive
front half
bar.
of it was a bar, you know?
Yeah.
And like the back half was just an empty room that probably would have had tables if we weren't there.
But the funniest thing to me is the Singleton Community Center. It's like you have this full, community center that's like old as shit.
So fucking old.
Like I'm literally like, dance like hardcore dancing in the room that my sister used to take cheer practice from,
Yeah. It's so dude, that
It's like
place
I used
is
to,
that
I'm in
place
the
is
room
so
that they got
crazy.
my ID card when I was 10.
Yeah. Dude, that place kind of kicked off that scene a little bit, I think. And
No, it did for sure. You
it's
did. I mean, it was cool too because like you had, I mean, it was like it was a true community center. So you had like, so you had like two or three different rooms that were just dedicated for like, performances and like dance recitals and stuff. So it's
yeah.
like you had multiple stages, so you could house all these
Yeah.
people. But then once these shows ended, it would just be everybody hanging out in the parking lot, like waiting for the parents to pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't know. We lived in the neighborhood that I was in, so it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we just skate down the street and go home.
Yeah.
But
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people did. Yeah. It was like kind of like the center point of that whole area.
yeah, it was kind of wild to me. Like I remember vividly two or three things from that place, and one of them is being introduced to Magic the Gathering for the first time. My neighbor was like, "Yo, you should come to the community center with me." I'm like playing this game against this group of people, and I was like, he's like, you should come along. And I said, all right, cool. You know, I didn't know shit about this, and we get there, and it's like, all right, this dude was like 2 years older than me at the time. I was probably like right at a teenager or whatever. He might be 15 or whatever at the time. And we walk in, and I'm telling the dudes he was gonna play these games with, easy in their late 30s, maybe 40s, like balding,
Yeah.
way overweight, like a good number of them. A couple of them were just like nerdy dudes, but like, and like whatever. But I was like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Like this shit is
Yeah.
not, not about this.
But
And I
dude, now
remember,
it's like magic's still a fucking thing and it's a
I
huge
know
thing.
it's crazy. And I remember at the time, these dudes had obviously been playing for a long time because they had crates and crates of, and I'm talking about actual fucking crates of cards. And
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, what the fuck? Like, and like at the time, being like a teenager, I'm like, dude, where do you get all the money for all this stuff? You know,
Yeah.
there's like, because this is not long after um Pokemon was like huge, right?
Yeah.
So like I understood like playing like card game those type of card games, like, but I was like, I don't get it. I don't. And he like, I remember this distinctly thinking this one thing that happened was like weird as fuck, and I gotta tell you about it. So he's like showing us, me and my buddy showing us these like cars or whatever in this crate, and there's this one crate that he was like, gearing up to show us or whatever, and I'm like, all right, what? I don't give a fuck what you're about to show us, my guy. And he pulls this one card. He's like, I'm about to show you some shit right now. I was like, fucking rad, bro. Like, do your thing. Show us that hot fire. And this dude pulls this one card out. And I swear to you, it was like I didn't know what the fuck he wouldn't let us touch it, which was weird.
Yeah.
And I thought it was strange. I was like, all right, okay, you're just gonna show it to me like this. You're not gonna let me fucking touch it at all. And like there was a couple other dudes in there. I'm like, oh shit, guys got motherfucking whatever. And I'm like, all right. That was literally the moment I decided I would never be into Magic the Gathering. Like right then.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, let me shout out to him because like some of those dudes are making fucking money. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got some shit in that cabinet behind me that's worth some money right now. But I'll tell you about it
yeah.
after we stop recording. I'm gonna get broke into, you know what I'm saying? But there was
Please don't
another
rob me.
thing. Yeah, right. Uh, the other thing I remembered, you were talking about like people hanging out in the parking lot. Well, like I feel like for a good majority of the time, Singleton Community Center was never had employees. There was like no one ever there.
Dude, it was like a ghost town. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Just like kids running amok in this fucking
Yeah.
community center.
It was
Like,
like some random place that stayed like relatively clean, but it
dude, I
was
can
like people.
relatively clean, dude. It always had like a fucking bad smell to it.
Yeah,
Remember that?
but that place is like
It's like
100 years old,
crickety.
so like there
Yeah.
was like
Like,
sweat and
damn.
dirt all over it for
Like
100
ghost
years.
farts.
Yeah, yeah, but like there was no like trash on the floor or any of that kind of stuff. It
That
was just
was
kind of
clean. But that's what
gross,
I'm saying.
like.
It was, yeah.
But
But that's what I'm saying. It was like an old ass building. You're like, damn, this shit hadn't changed in probably like 100 years. You
yeah,
know?
but the other thing you were saying, I mean, it was multiple stages. So when me and my buddy started skating, I we ended up there one night. I don't know why. I don't know how we got in. I don't know why we were in there, but we were like, we're gonna skate off the stage in one of these fucking ballrooms or whatever. So we ended up. It was like me, probably
Oh yeah,
Dill,
dude.
Crow, Drew, maybe. I think that was
Yeah.
it. Maybe Jake was there. And yeah, we ended up just skating in this most slick wooden floor of
Dude,
your
yeah.
whole in the world. And yeah, it was so slick. It was like not fun. But that
Yeah.
is one memory that stuck with me. Like, why were we in there? How did they let us do that?
Old ass, yeah, old ass. Well, I was gonna say, I'm surprised they come in and say, "Hey, what the fuck?"
No one said anything. We just left because it was too
Yeah,
slick. We were like, we can't do this. Like it's too we're gonna eat shit in here. Like we're gonna get hurt and no one's gonna know because
yeah.
like no one works here. We're just gonna fucking just sit here screaming. But anyway, yeah. Origin story of our me and Adam's pop punk years.
But yeah, it's funny too because like before high school, like in growing up, I used to play basketball at the community center too.
Yeah,
It's
man.
funny.
Everyone did shit
Listening.
there. That's also there's like a big summer babysitting program there. I remember
Oh
people in
yeah, yeah,
people in our neighborhood would work it. Like some of the girls in
yeah,
our grade be like, "Oh yeah, I got babysitting this week or whatever." What?
yeah.
Like motherfuckers have jobs like 10 years old watching younger kids. Like what the fuck is going on here?
Oh man,
But
it's wild.
it's so crazy. But anyways, that's this little retrospective this time period in our lives. I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about or say anything about this album?
uh, no, I'm trying to think. Not really. I think we covered it.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting. Um, the new Dove logo for this band, Shepherd Ferry created the new Dove logo for them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
He created which one?
The newer of the Dove logos that they have. So now I guess
So
they had an
like,
old logo, but the new one, the one they currently have,
oh,
is
gotcha.
yeah. So that's
That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Um oh, I guess oh, it was not on their sixth and final album, No Devotion or Devolution. Also in a second logo, I read bullseye. Oh, they had a bullseye with a chevron below it. It's weird.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that. I've seen that
Yeah,
somewhere.
kill the house. Um, yeah. So I guess he created their new logo,
That's cool.
new Dev. That's pretty cool. But anyways, all you nerds that are getting into all this stuff right now, go ahead and check out Thursday's War All the Time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not about 9/11, so get that out of your head. It's just and it's actually not political, so it's not political either. So check that out. But it's hard to keep those two things out of your brain when you listen to this. So
Yeah. It's very angsty though.
it's very angsty. It's so angsty teens. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Just like, you know, I'm glad my taste is refined since then.
Me too.
Man,
I'm glad your
yeah.
taste is refined.
It was a hard listen.
It's hard. It's hard to listen. Well, dude, no offense to them, but like the live album was a harder listen than
No, I'm sure.
yeah. Not at the time, at the time when we saw them, but this is 20 years of doing that,
Yeah, like I said too, it's like, they're kind of almost like a performance piece in a way too. It's like, all these bands are way better to see live because it was you're getting all that like rage out of your system,
yeah.
and angst and all that shit. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'd say it as more of a performance piece. Like, yeah, this album was good, but like you want to see it live for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, go and check this band out. While you're at it, look up some stuff and check out some of the other bands that were touring with them. We mentioned a lot of them, so including your boys, My Chemical Romance, making a huge comeback right now.
Don't get it.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, whatever.
Well, like, Shutdown did it because I think it really was like, he's doing a lot. Like, he did the Umbrella Academy shit,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of cool that Homeboy became like a legit, straight up famous comic writer in the time that they were gone.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And it's like,
yeah,
it turned it into a huge show, which the show is pretty cool. But
it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch this newest season, but the other ones are pretty cool. But anyways, I think that's all for me. But Adam, you got anything else, real quick?
I got nothing. I think we covered it.
All right, I think so too. Shout out to Medicine Brewing Company. If you're in Cordova, Tennessee, down in Memphis, go ahead and check them out. They are great. They're awesome. They also manufactured. They manufactured. I guess that's the right word. When you go in there, they made all of their tap room themselves. Like, there's some really cool pieces in there, like a big cog on the ceiling. I think it's a lamp or something like that. It's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. You'd actually really like it because you make that shit too. But yeah, they made all the stuff in their tap room. It's very cool. And they're good dudes. So shout out Nelson. This is Dropping the Needle, episode 15. It's your boys. Yeah.